Are you packed now?
Huh?
I feel like I'm always laughing at you when we start these. Like you always come out like the fucking dirt devil or something. Like,
I do.
ah.
I just like storm down the stairs. Just I come over here, throw everything on.
Do the
Literally.
sock, like the sock snowboarding on the stairs. You're like on the hardwood.
Yeah, that's literally like one of these times I'll be late because I'm gonna fall down the stairs before I get here. But
I I did that. I did that at my uncle's house once, and I like messed myself up like really bad. Like hit my, like it landed on my back, and like three stairs like fully across my back just like crunched me. Anyway, I was later than late because I was like, man, why don't I do like Anno dev blog recaps and put them up on YouTube? Because they do these like 2 page kind of like dev blogs where they just say, hey, this is what's coming in the next update.
yeah,
And I literally was like, well, let's just read it over and record it and put it on like YouTube. So
yeah,
I'm
why
uh
not?
I'm a bit fiery because I just sent that well, I literally just stopped recording and then I sent you the link right after because you messaged me. I'm like, sorry, I have to get this right now.
No,
Anyway,
that's good. I know that a few people do that live with like the patch notes for Fallout and stuff. When they take the servers down, they like, review the patch notes and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah, but at least on YouTube, it's forever.
yeah, that's true. I know. I was thinking, I'm like, well, we could do it on Twitch, but like then like 15 people are gonna see it. You know what I mean? If I'm
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah,
So yeah, and like it's kind of back to our last week discussion. Like, take your own advice. Like, try to get back into this YouTube thing because
yeah.
like
I
we
know.
were kind of okay at it when we first started, and we just buggered off.
When the streaming was slower, we
Yeah,
were a lot better because we weren't on schedules and we weren't doing that. There weren't, I don't know, not obligations, but there weren't regulars, there weren't that sort of thing. So it was just like there was more time to screw around. It
yeah,
felt like, and actually that screwing around was us actually doing things proper.
yeah,
Just don't really haven't had the time to integrate it, but it's just comes down to another situation of you say you don't have the time when actually you have all kinds of time.
yeah. I heard some really big name. I think it was actually Harris Heller. He was like, "Well, we all have 24 hours a day in a day, right?" And I hate hearing that because it doesn't really resonate with me. But I mean, if you do take a step back and actually think about it, it is true. Like he basically said you're gonna have to sacrifice something to to put something else in its place, right? It's not like you have so many hours in the day that you're just bored for a bunch of them. Like you just sit there and read the newspaper. Like you've always got something to do, right? Like you especially with like two kids and stuff. Like I'm lucky.
It's pretty full time block.
Yeah. I'm lucky that you know, it's just kind of me and my girlfriend, so
But there's still they go to bed and I lean on my counter and scroll on my phone for 45 minutes checking
yeah.
fantasy sports and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
like
there's little pieces here and there.
yeah. I was cracking up yesterday when you rated what is it? I'm
Oh,
Whisper.
Whisper.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, dude. That's so funny. Like
Yeah.
so like he act like his kids wake up and so he has to whisper on stream basically. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he's a funny dude, man, and I've been meaning to hit him with a raid for a while. It's another time zone thing. It's hard for me to watch him. He's on later and stuff, but he's funny. I always
Yeah.
pop in usually late at night and hang out with him for a little bit. And
It's actually yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
he's funny. No, he's just funny, man. I get a kick out of him. I was glad to get to pop in on him.
Yeah, like I just find it funny. He has no lights on. He's just in the dark and he's just whispering on his camera. And like anytime bright things happen, like the whole room lights up. I'm
Yeah,
like, man, this is old school streaming. I like it.
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, he's funny, man.
But the other thing I've been hounding you about this week is like taking some time to just disconnect because I took 3 days to disconnect and like honestly, not even exaggerating, I feel like like pretty refreshed and pretty realigned, I guess would be words that I don't think are exaggerations. And it kind of like, or refocus. I don't know how many words I'm going to throw at you here, but I feel like if you do take a step away, even for a little bit, like you start, it's kind of like you start looking at yourself again and you're like, man, I can do this, I can do this, we can do this. And like, you're just refocused so quickly. Like 3 days is all it took for me. And I came back and I was like, I'm good. Like I'm
Yeah,
back. I'm
yeah.
awake.
You can get caught in kind of that vortex of I know for me it's like I want to I want to watch everybody. I want all of my friends. I want to support every one of them. I want to constantly be on all of them. I want to, take that 30 seconds to run downstairs and throw a lurk on someone else. I want to do this. But, and then like, cause I'm like, oh, I want to support them and I don't want them to think I'm not supporting them and stuff like that. But then I'm thinking like, if anybody ever told me they couldn't show up for a reason in my stream, like some people that I hang out with, I'm not mad. I'm never mad. Like I don't expect people to lurk. I don't expect that, but I feel like I'm expected. You know what I mean? So that's, I kind of bog myself down with just trying to forgetting about myself and just thinking about everybody else, which, I don't think is a bad, piece of character to have to care about people, but you still have to reflect on yourself as well. And that's why I'm to the point where it's like paper bag. I'm like, I need, like, we're away for this weekend. I'm not going to have access to anything. And it's good timing because I need that step back.
Yeah,
even just for a couple days.
Yeah, I mean, it won't take long, man. 2 or 3 days. That's like, for me, it seems to be a good reset. So looking forward to that for you, to be honest.
Yeah, it should be a good Sunday. So
yeah, I feel like as well, like it's sometimes you want to do that and you want to raid everybody, or not raid, but you want to like lurk everybody that you can, and because you want, like, you, in a way, you're thinking, well, I wish people were doing that for me. Like if every person that I knew was doing that for me, then we'd be in a different spot. But I mean, that's just not the reality. So
it's just, this, like we just said, everybody's got 24 hours and usually a large percentage of them are booked up and very few hours are reserved for sleeping in many people in these circles that we've met and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, just, you really gotta you take a look in the mirror and be like, are you all right? To yourself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a hard thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised, like, even like Avij or like Ma, like, they've been in, like, Ma was in my stream. When did the last stream? Tuesday? Like, we were raiding someone else, and I think she's East Coast or further east than me.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was like midnight. I'm like, okay, I'm going. Like, let's raid someone, guys. Like, I'm out of here, kind of thing. And Ma was like, oh, night. Thanks for the stream. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, this woman is still on my stream, and it's like late there, man. So, I mean, it's nice, but you like, as people say before, like, you got to look out for number one, right? And as much as it'd be super, super nice that everybody kind of acted like maybe like you, like if you're like a novel citizen of Twitch, and you lurk everybody and everything like that, it'd be cool if everyone was like that, but it's not the case. So
no, it's just time. It comes down to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody's greatest enemy. And it's not just time as well. It's everything that comes along with spending too much time doing something and forgetting about other aspects and stuff like that. I'm sitting here cleaning my mouse pad. I'm like, I'm not going to fiddle around today, but here I am. I've moved the bike like 6 times. That's anyway, okay. It's just you can tell when you're getting high strung. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I'm there. So I'm like, I wanted to do this. I knew I wasn't going to have time to stream tonight. It just wasn't going to happen. But I was like, I really want to have this chat because these chats are like a big exhale as well. Like, this is what I like about this. Like, there's not a lot of pressure. It's just like, just a great big exhale of all the shit that's piled up for the last couple days. And then I can, inhale over the weekend and then get ready to do it again on the weekend.
Yeah, I think I also like just having a weekly video that's out, because you can kind of look back on it and be like, oh, look how well, like, even if you're having a shit day, you can be like, oh, look, our video's doing okay. Or like someone else viewed it and subscribed or whatever. Like,
or someone commented or someone.
Yeah. Like, you've got kind of like this little thing in the pocket for the week is like, oh, well, our last podcast is doing well. And like, at least we have that like shining star kind of thing. And, and then when you're feeling better, you can think on the last podcast and go, oh, well, what should we do next? And like, what would I like to see next? Or what is because for me now, like, we have 8 episodes, and I think, like, I almost think like it's, like I said before, it's kind of its own entity now in a way. If you watch them, it's got its own character. And if we were all of a sudden like, oh, let's go do tech reviews or whatever, like it wouldn't really work. Like, it might, but it wouldn't be the driving force the driving force behind what we're trying to do, you know? Like it's not like, oh, you got 60 subs now. Why don't you review your Go XLR Mini on here? It's like, no.
It's
Like,
not
you know?
yeah, it's just not the place. It wouldn't be between the lives because this
Yeah.
thing, we didn't even really, we had an idea. We're like, oh, we'll talk about like what goes on between the lives on Twitch and like between our lives and what's going on.
Yeah.
It'll be streaming related and and I'm like, I was really talking about it, like I did talk about it with you when I talked about it with Avij today. I said, don't expect a direction change because I know you love these, but I just find that like now, the medium that we started this on was streaming and content creation and doing this and that, but that's the icebreaker. I feel like,
Yeah.
and it's a very relatable thing to real life. It's kind of cool how it works out. Like you can apply a lot of the situations that happen in this type of setting, like in front of these lights and on the camera. You can kind of figure, like if you're out in for me, I'm like, if I'm out on the street or I'm somewhere like that, it's no different than, people are looking at you still. You still have a camera on you technically. It's just, it's kind of the same. So that's when we talk about a lot of these issues, I find that they parallel with life too. And that's why I think it's a good space that people that don't stream can still come and hang out. And like you said, there's a bit of character in this. They get to know us. They know us through the streams. They get to see a little bit of the other side of that here. I like the direction that it goes.
Yeah. I like the fact that this is kind of like, for lack of a better word, like this is the dessert to like the streams. Like, so if you're having fun on the stream, then you can be like, oh, well, if you like me that much, why don't you go watch the podcast? Right.
Right.
But then there's also, what we've realized is there's also, what about people that just come from YouTube, right? Like they don't know who we are. And then you start thinking, okay, well, we'll probably run out of just talking about streamer stuff. But we probably won't run out of like life and lifestyle and figuring this shit out sort of thing. That's a very terribly formed sentence, but I feel like there's definitely parallels, and there's definitely some weeks where it's more about streaming and then some weeks where it's just not about streaming, because it's like, well, we didn't really learn much this week,
Yeah, exactly. It's like it comes from the basis of people that are looking for this type of material on YouTube and on Twitch and on Facebook gaming and on all that are we don't have to, like, I don't have to be exactly like you, but we have similarities where we're all gamers, or we're all viewers. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just this type of people who have this little bit of an escape. You're down and we'll go sit on the computer or on my phone, and this is like, a lot of people have their different vices or their different hobbies, and everybody that kind of comes here is kind of built on that same foundation. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a little bit of I don't even know if this is a word, but I'm saying it anyway, comfortability for coming here. I'm coining that if it's not sounds good, but do you know what I mean? It's like it can be a very diverse viewership with people that stream or don't stream, or maybe they make music, or maybe they just play games, or maybe they do this. But there is enough of a similarity when you get on that human level between the people that I think that this is a good space for just about anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and that comes back to like one of our previous podcasts with like Build the Landing Pad, right? Like, like don't go out there and be fake and try to be like everybody else, because like there's 10,000 other places that kind of person can land, right?
Yeah.
Like I think about that, like especially with your streams and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, like being original is going to help in the end, right? Like it's going to bring you forward, and most people that are successful at this kind of thing are fairly original. Like look at like, what is it, Dude Perfect on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Like that wasn't really being done, especially on that scale, like before them, right? And all of a sudden they start getting like crazy views, and then I think now they're YouTube partnered, right? So they have
they're
fat
huge,
stacks.
Man. Yeah, like they do tours of the States and stuff like that, or tours if you're Newtbergs. But yeah, they're like and so kids like my oldest son, he's 8, just about 8. Kids his age, like trick shots and all this stuff. That's all they do. It's all they do. And that's who they watch, Dude Perfect. And then there's people that are like Dude Perfect that are trying to be like them, and Dude Perfect this and Dude Perfect that. And they're awesome. Like, I enjoy them. But it's just, like you said, that originally was 2 guys in their backyard throwing basketballs over their head. That's how that started. No one on YouTube was sitting in their backyard throwing basketballs over their head. It just wasn't a thing, or standing on the roof and launching it across the thing. Yeah. He said they built that basically from the ground up. Back when it was such a grainy YouTube video that you could barely see the basketball going, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And now they have their own complex, and it's
Yeah.
just, and so many people have resonated there. And it's, there's people my age, because they're our age, and I'm watching them like, this is cool. And then like my son's watching it, and then my younger son's watching it. It's just a snowball.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
With a lot of this like online stuff, right? Like realistically, like if you can dream it, like it can be made basically, right? I saw this guy today. Sorry if you were going to say something, but I'll make it
I
quick.
wasn't.
This guy on Apex, his name's Serial. It's like Ceryal. Anyway, he's semi-professional player, and he's like literally his about section on his Twitch is so hard. It just says, "I'd rather die than not chase my dreams." Period. There's nothing else. That's all it says. And I'm like, to 99.9% people that doesn't fire them up, but to me, man, I'm like, that fires me up. Like that's just like, that's so hard. But like, and like he's grinding, you know what I mean? Like he's not doing incredibly well. Like he's got enough subs to support himself and stuff, but he's by no means like a top 10 Apex streamer. But I see shit like that now, and I'm like, I resonate with that. Like, and I know not everybody will, and that's fine. And not a lot of people, or not everybody will resonate with these podcasts, and that's fine too. But I see stuff like that, I'm like, I get fired up. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like that's cool.
That's the mindset. If you want more, get more. Do you know? Like put the effort in, figure out and do it. If you're happy where you're at, be happy where you're at. But
exactly.
if you have a vision of what you want, if you're not doing anything to get to that point, you're not going to get there. And that's, it's the same with someone grinding on Twitch or on YouTube. It's no different than someone practicing playing hockey. You know what I mean? That's, you say, like, this comes back to the whole coaching thing, which also I like how it kind of plays into this. But, if you want to be able to throw a ball harder in baseball, but you never take the time to go out and throw the ball, you're not going to get there. If your dream's to be a pitcher, but you can't pitch because you can't throw well enough and you don't practice throwing, you're never going to get there. If you want to make it as a streamer and you're not putting the effort to try to get better at doing it, you can't expect to get there. You have to put in the work. You have to chase your dreams. Like you said, if you want it, go get it. If you don't want it, you don't, I guess. That's just,
fuck it.
I said, effort in, effort out.
Yeah. And like something I threw at you earlier this week, and it's like, the quote was, how do you expect to improve that which you know nothing about?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's where like you and I, where we were like basically hammering down the point, like just press go live or press record, put something out there, establish a baseline, however shitty it might be, right? Like you need to do something, and then you can figure out, you can put 1% or maybe less than 1% of improvement into that thing, right? And then next time, like, you're better off. So
yeah.
And that's not just a streaming thing, that's anything, right? And that's something that has been, especially with this last episode, man. This last episode has kind of hit me, and it's like, all right, well, like, are you fake? Basically is what my brain is saying. Like, are you going to take your own advice or fucking not? That's what my brain's been telling me this whole week. When I came back on like Monday from like, being unplugged, and I was like, okay, like I understand the terms now, and if I'm not going to have success, then I have no one to blame but myself. So
that's it.
It's a tough one to swallow.
It is. If you spend more time trying to figure out other reasons to why you're not succeeding at what you want, and put the blame on it's not working because of this, it's not working because of that.
Yeah.
Is it? Or are you now spending time that we just talked about, which is invaluable to you? Are you doing it to be productive, or are you doing it to try to figure out a way to blame it on something else other than yourself? Because sure, there's outlying factors, but at the end of the day, there's still you. You need to adjust, you need to figure out, and you need to go around it. So yeah, and you know what's funny? I'm going to say all this, and I'm going to look right in the camera so that when I watch this on Saturday, and I'm like, Nick, you're like the worst one for this. Like, people say that you give good advice, not just here, like everywhere, but you never do it. Do you know what I mean? So that's a lot of these for me, the Between the Lives especially. but streaming as well is a self-help thing, because then I'll watch it and I'm like, that guy right there, like, he's not shy, he's not this, he speaks what he wants, he does this. But then I'm the dude on the couch that I'm like, yeah, that dude, I should do what that dude says, and then I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but I got to take that step that you just said right there. Like, that's next in the process for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like it's a long-term thing, right? And that's why most people that are doing this, it takes them years to get to that point. Like, most of these guys are 2+ years in this kind of industry before they're where they want to be. And that's because they've had to like shake away like so many cobwebs of like terrible thinking and terrible habits, and and basically they've, for lack of a better word, they've just improved themselves as human beings to the point where they know, like for me, like I know that I have weaknesses, and now I'm like, if I have weaknesses and I know that I'm never going to get to them, then I'm going to have to seek help and get somebody else to do it for me. Like, I know with this business thing, I'm like, I know nothing about starting a business. Every time I Google it, it tells me to go to a certain place and register. And I'm like, I hate that, and I'm probably going to have to talk to somebody else about doing it, because I can't, it's like I can't draw. Like, I'd love to make all my own stuff, but it looks shitty. So I have to get somebody else to do it, because I've come to terms with that, and I'm not going to like blame somebody else. It's just like the way it is, so.
You can't be good at everything, and that's also all right.
Yeah.
Some avenues that you take aren't going to work out for you also. And that's just, you take it as it is. Like you said, you either find some way to adapt around that and get some help and figure out what you want to do, or you abandon it and you refocus or realign or whatever. You fired off about 5 hours there at the beginning, pick one of them and do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it's again, it comes down to the time thing, right? Like, if you're not super, super good at something and it's going to take you hours and hours and hours to do it, then maybe someone else should do it, or someone else can help you do it, Right. There's no shame in that, because it comes right back to that time thing, like I just said.
And procrastinating, like we talked about at the end of the other episode as well, I'm way more likely to just, slowly sit back and be like, yep, then I'll just zone out here for 20 minutes after we do this instead of doing anything. But then, there needs to be an indicator in your head that's like, there it is, when you see that video and you just lean back, sitting in your chair, you're not doing it. If you don't want to be productive, you won't be productive. So, and you got to make time to rest. Don't get me wrong, but life's about prioritizing a lot of it. It really is. And I'm horrible at it. I'm very scatterbrained and all over the place. And that's why I was running around doing a bunch of stuff before we did this, because I didn't take my wife's advice and do it sooner. You know what I mean? So you also need to listen to the people that are trying to help you as well.
Yeah. It's really tough to take someone else's advice, like in general. I found that these last couple of years, like if you're actually going to take somebody's advice, it's going to take a lot to get to that point. Like the other day I was not arguing, but I was complaining about some shit and talking about how I was complaining on it on Facebook, and Kat like literally hit me with a freight train. She was like, this isn't the platform that's going to do it. Like, it's not going to change if you do it on here. So you need to find a better place to look to make a change. And I was like, it literally hit me like a fucking frying pan in the face, because I actually took the advice for once. Like, normally that would graze the fuck off me, I'd be like, shut the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yes, I did.
Like 90,
especially with you, I'm like,
I love my percentages, but 9.9999%, that rolls right the fuck by me. But that for some reason hit me like a freight train, and since then I was like, she's right. Like, she's so right about this one that it hurts me.
You should timestamp this for Kat when you just said she's right right there.
Yeah. I'll give her this one. But yeah, like it was just like, I don't know why, but I was able. Maybe it was just the fact that I was actually able to receive advice and it actually like drilled in. Like, maybe that was what was so flooring. But yeah, that was a moment, man. And like, that's just those little things where 2 years ago, I don't think that happens. Like, I don't think that I was in a position 2 years ago or even 1 year ago to receive advice and actually take it, So it's definitely like a lifelong journey to, betterment, if that's a word. I hope it is. Maybe we're just inventing words on this podcast.
I definitely invented that last one. I don't remember what it was.
What?
It was bad.
Comfortability? I think that actually is a
Comfortability.
word.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
It is now.
Or it's an IKEA fucking chair. One or the other.
Yeah, it could be. Sounds like a Wayfarer thing.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Oh.
Comfort with a K.
What the hell was I gonna say? Oh fuck, I'll never remember. Oh, shit. What
I don't
was it?
know.
Oh, I was like, this is it. This is the little tidbit. Here comes the
This
bit
is
of
the one
wisdom.
that's-
It's gone. You don't get it this time.
This one's going to be the YouTube title for the video.
exactly. Shit. What was it? It
Just
ran
loading
away.
it up.
It was bad. No, it's gone. It's so far gone now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's no grabbing it now.
Are you not streaming tonight? You're deciding not to?
I've still got stuff I got to do, and I almost left work early today because I was so sore as well. Like I went and saw my boss. I was like, I'm in pain.
Are you
And-
still in pain from the operation and shit?
Yeah, and this is my first week back at work, and it's been fine. But like today, my body's like, you need to be horizontal for a little bit. Like it's just
Wow.
And so between that and the stuff I got to do, I don't think it's gonna work out. I was thinking I might try to get on late, but we'll see.
Mm.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Just it's one of those things where you got to decide: is it gonna be just me trying to do it because I feel bad for the people that I'm skipping out on and not listening to the cues within my own body, or am I just gonna take the night and rest and be better for
Yeah.
everybody?
Yeah, I always talk to Kat about, people are like, oh, that's a sign. That's a sign, and I think that you need to be in a position to receive signs. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that they just exist. Like, I don't think an angel floats down and gives you a sign, right? But I do think that if you're actually using your brain and you do the tally of, okay, well, I'm in pain and all my bullshit's stacking up. I'm already late and my wife's mad at me, Sarah. I'm sorry. I know this information, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can be like, all right, the signs are there and then you're able to make a decision on those signs, right? And
That's
I'm not
right.
telling you not to go live, but I find it funny that I find that with signs and stuff, like it's really up to who's receiving it, whether or not they do something about it, and they get, like, for lack of a better word, sometimes you can see a sign and then you get motivated about it. Like the other day we're walking on the road, like getting into Matt's car because I still have it, and these two people are biking by, and it was like, oh, like they're biking, oh, I'm so glad I bought my house, I'm never paying rent again. That's what these two people are saying to each other in Banff, right? I'll
Yeah.
never pay rent again in my life, I'll never do that. And meanwhile, the day before, the 2 days before, I'm ranting to Kat, like, man, like, I'm done renting. Like, I want to figure out how we buy a house. Like, how do we buy a fucking house? Like, no one's coming to my door. It's like, hey, you want to buy a house? Like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
Well, no worries. Here's the how-to. And like, that's just a thing that, that might not be a sign. And I told her, like, like most people would not, that person rides by, says that same thing. Most of those people don't receive that information as a sign. But for some reason, we heard that, and then Kat was like, did you just hear that? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that's so weird, like that. Of course it's a coincidence, but you can still take that as a sign
Sure.
and do something about it. And then that night I messaged the fam, and I'm like, hey, like, I might have to cash call you guys soon for like $5,000 or $10,000. Like, just be aware that I'm going to be asking you for money because I'm done,
Yeah.
and there's just no way that I'm going to be able to do it without some form of cash call.
Oh yeah,
So
we were the same way. It's just
I called everyone, man.
yeah.
So
But that's that's taking initiative and
Mm.
going for it.
yeah, it's just like, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, well, if you're not going to do it now, like, will you ever do it? So it's
If you
like,
wait till you're ready for anything in life, I'm a firm believer. If you wait until you're ready, you'll never be ready. Ever. Never, never.
Yeah.
Same with kids, same with all that. Oh, I'm gonna wait until I'm ready. How the hell are you ever gonna be ready? You're gonna win the lottery and all of a sudden, like, you're not gonna be prepared. Just do it. You just gotta roll with the punches. So
Yeah. It's a good one. It's true though. And that comes right back down to streaming too. If you want to tie it right back in, I'll be that annoying guy that ties our podcast back to streaming, but it's the same thing.
Oh, let's loop it back. Bring it back.
Let's loop her back, baby. And that's the same thing we talked about before. It's like, If you're not going to start and you're not going to try and you're not going to, like, sometimes it means like go out and buy the camera. Take a $500 risk and buy a Sony A5100 or something, or buy a StreamCam Plus and see, like, take that risk and then start recording or streaming and see if you can do something. But if you don't have the camera, or well, sorry, Avij, if you don't have the camera or the microphone or something like that, then like, what the hell, like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
are you actually, maybe it's just a thought in your head at that point, you know?
That's funny you say, Avij. That's like he just pulled the trigger and like bought complete new everything, because he said something. Him and I have been talking about it, and he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? He's like, this is my career. He's like, I'm gonna invest in myself. And I was like, yeah, that's it right there. Now you're doing it. You're making this a reality. There's a guy right there that took a dream and is making it into a reality right in front of everybody's eyes, and that's it. You know, sure, was he nervous? Sure he was. It's a big investment, you know, and people who are, you know, good, that understand how money works, understand that investments are scary, but you're investing in something you believe in. It has a purpose, you know, and with that energy going into it, it will allow him to excel and do better and help, you know, take the risk off of that.
Yeah.
So
I think also, to tie into that, I find that if you take a risk with like an investment or something that you're like, I'll take it outside of streaming, like with my mountain bike. I bought a fairly expensive mountain bike the last time around because I could afford it, and a lot of people were like, "Whoa!" Like, you know, this one of these guys was like, "What that run you like $3,000?" And I looked at him and I didn't even answer because I was like, "You have no idea."
yeah,
But the point is that the new mountain bike that I got was able to, one, give me so much more determination to go out there, because I'm like, hey, this thing is like, I need to be riding this because this thing's expensive and like it deserves to be ridden, basically. And the second point is it makes you better, right? So the new mountain bike is so much better than my old one that I'm like, holy shit, I'm so much better. I'm faster, more confident. So you become a more confident rider on a better piece of equipment, right? And like, there's people that come up to me and they're like, oh, you know, should I buy this bike? You know, it'll be like $1,500 and it's from like 2015. I'm like, no. And I'll tell you why, is because you're going to spend $1,500 and you're not going to have fun, because it's an old geometry and it's an old bike and it's going to be shaky and sketchy and it's going to make you scared. You know what I mean? So there's something to be said for like good hardware. Not to the extent that, you know, to take pictures of it and go on Instagram and try to trend on there, because it's not going to get you anywhere anyway. But a good piece of equipment, like I keep looking at my Stream Deck, like my, a Stream Deck 15. And I was like, man, this just polished a couple little edges where I could change scenes and stuff like that. And I can pause and start and change playlists on Spotify. And with you, like, it's even way bigger than that, right? Like, and yours is only a 6-button. You know what I mean?
oh my, I was just looking at him like, you little shit. But yeah, but it's that tool has allowed me to be original. That's how I am original. The way I use that is how I integrate it into my thing. And like you said, it allows me to do a lot of the stuff I do. Now I look like an old school like NBTEL operator, like plugging the switches because I only have the 6 buttons. Like I have so many nested folders. It's just crazy. I said I'm going to do a stream someday where it's just me going through my Stream Deck folders. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. You're right.
And it's like, you don't want to take it too far, but at the same time, like the funny thing is with you, like you have the 6, and I'm thinking, man, like he uses his so much, like he probably, if he does go for the upgrade, he'll probably get the XL,
the big boy,
which is like,
yeah,
like it's like 25 keys or 30 keys, like it's way bigger than mine. But if you have a use for it, then there's no reason to not buy that hardware.
That's right.
Know? And usually we're very like anti-hardware, you know, like, oh, make yourself better first. Yeah. But some hardware can make you better too, and it'll make you more confident, right?
That's right.
And confidence, if you're in front of a camera and you've got a crappy setup or something doesn't work, then you know, maybe it's time for a change. So
right.
We have been almost 35 minutes now, so I think we'll cut it here because you got to go pack.
Yeah, and you gotta get on. Yeah,
I already tweeted. I'm gonna do 7:20. I still have to eat my food. My food's sitting outside.
Hopefully, it's not burning.
Yeah. So this is Between the Lives, episode 9. Believe it or not. My name is Julian, also known as Mr. Elliot on Twitch. Over here we've got Nick, also known as Father Millennial on Twitch. And he's doing the Skipperoni tonight, but he'll be on Sunday, which is going to be a day after this gets released. So if you've made it this far, let's go watch Father Millennial tomorrow night, ladies and gents. And I don't know. Got anything in closing, sir?
Not really, no. I said I'm always
Good.
listening to the ending. I'm like, yeah, it's a good conclusion. Like,
I ranted today, so I was like, shit, maybe he wanted something
got
else.
anything to add? Nope. I'm good.
All right, let's cut her there, buddy.
All right, man.